We are live from Boston. I hope everyone is doing well. We have a winner on the women's side of the US Open. It is Naomi Osaka, and she has defeated I believe it's 22 times a Grand Slam champion, Serena Williams. And I wanted to go on and do this. I hope there are some Japanese folks in the audience. I hope the whole country of Japan is online. I want to talk about this. Hello, folks. Great to see you. I hope everyone is doing well. That was really a fantastic match, I thought, generally, between Serena Williams and Naomi Osaka. We do have a lot to talk about there. I hope the Japanese folks on YouTube are coming hither. Let's talk about the Japanese queen, the queen of New York, time champion Naomi Osaka, and she wiped the great Serena Williams off the court, folks. That's what happened. Serena was bawling the whole way, whining and bawling with a sense of self-righteousness that I have never seen exhibited on a tennis court, at least not since, I don't know, John McEnroe. No hard feelings, John. But listen, this was a terrible showing for Serena with respect to her response to these violations. She did smash her racket. She's a Grand Slam finalist racket smasher. I'm an American, but I don't root for Americans based on my nationality. And let me say, on a couple of levels, Naomi Osaka is the legitimate, genuine Grand Slam champion, the legitimate and genuine champion of this US Open on a couple of levels. First, dispositionally, in terms of her temperament, I stated on Twitter, and let me repeat it here, there was only one player on the court in this final that had the temperament of a Grand Slam champion. One player, that was Naomi Osaka. She played brilliantly, she dictated play, and she mowed the great Serena Williams down. Congratulations to Osaka, and I hope there are many people in the audience coming on to YouTube to see some talk, to see some coverage of this historic event. The new generation in women's tennis, the Osaka generation. She is the champion. Listen, Serena's serve fell off quite a bit in this match. Her first serve is really so important to her game, folks. But she couldn't bring it tonight. But more importantly, Naomi Osaka was applying so much pressure to Serena Williams. And Serena was simply befuddled by all of this. Well, by the time the violations were called, there was some coaching, there was some interaction between Serena and her box, and she just got so upset. Of course, then she was broken and smashed her racket and then given a game violation, which helped Naomi Osaka close out this match and clinch her first Grand Slam trophy. Again, for those of you coming on, I hope there are a number of Japanese folks. Let's get into this. This is inspiring. She is fantastic. Osaka dominated this tournament, folks. She dominated. Look back at those scores for a second. Look back at her run into this final and her run straight in to this trophy. Look back at it. She deserves it. Well, not only on the level of playing, she was not only the better player and the far better player, the far superior player, not only the better player, but the better player temperamentally. Serena Williams embarrassed herself, folks. She was in tears with such a sense of self-righteousness on the court. It made me sick to my stomach. Listen, I love Serena. I want her to do well, but that little exhibition she gave was over the top, totally wrong, totally impermissible and inappropriate on a professional tennis court in any circumstance, let alone a Grand Slam final. It was very disgraceful. I hope that Serena is not going to become really despondent and depressed about this in a way. She can go on, she can win, but she has to realize on some level that this was wrong. This was totally wrong. And not only was she an embarrassment to herself, but I will say she was an embarrassment to the United States of America. An embarrassment to the United States of America. All of that whining. You need to apologize. She said to she demanded an apology from the umpire. Now, that is self-righteousness at its absolute peak, beyond belief. Absolutely beyond belief. Demanded an apology, what, to her daughter? There were so many strange things that Serena was doing. She was out of sorts completely and totally lost her composure. She is the loser of this Grand Slam. She does not, if she had gone on to win this, I would be saying probably that she does not deserve to win this. She totally failed to mind her manners in this historic sport. We have rules in this sport. We have ways of going about playing a professional tennis match. We have people appointed that make the decisions. They try to make them impartially. Serena Williams had an entire tennis stadium behind her, cheering for her. And let me tell you, for those of you who are Federer fans, and for those of you among you who are not Federer fans, who when you hear about all the Federer hype, when you hear the announcers talking about Federer, you get kind of sick to your stomach. Well, in tonight's match between Serena Williams and Naomi Osaka, I started to feel that same feeling that you Fed skeptics, let's say, feel when you see all that hype. Well, with Serena, it's the same thing. I went on and the announcers, they were just talking and talking. Everybody's beefing up Serena. She's so great. What does she need to do to win? She's going to win this. All the focus was on Serena by the announcers. And you know what? I got a little sick to my stomach too, because I had seen over the course of this week the great Naomi Osaka play. I had seen the queen, now the Queen of New York. I had seen the Japanese queen totally devastate in this tournament, and I knew that Serena had a bit of a task on her hands, and I knew that Osaka was the snake that was going to ultimately take this tournament away from the great Serena Williams and prevent her from winning her 23rd Grand Slam trophy. Well, things were bad for Serena in this match far prior to the point at which Serena lost her temperament and lost her cool. Things were looking very bad for her in this match right from the outset, and it has to do with the sheer consistency of the Osaka game. She uses a few shots. She's only got a few shots really in her toolkit, but she plays them beautifully, so consistent. A wonderful serve. She backs it up. She was not intimidated by this legend. And she, ladies and gentlemen, is the slayer of legends at this year's US Open. Congratulations to Naomi Osaka. Congratulations to the country of Japan. And I hope there are many Japanese people in the audience watching this. I invite you to subscribe to Tennis Talk Daily because you know what? I cover a lot of men's tennis on this channel, but Naomi Osaka, she is special. We will be covering her. We will be tracing her rise to the top of this game. And she has started. She won Indian Wells. And we should be back on, I believe. We're having a couple of problems. Excuse me. I'm getting real excited about the tennis match. Listen, to repeat, Osaka won this 100% on a couple of levels. The first level was civility. The first level was temperament. The first level was keeping her eye on the ball, staying focused, staying calm, minding her manners, obeying the rules of the game. That was the first level at which she won this match. But the second level was just the tremendous tennis that Osaka brought, and it happened all the way through the tournament. The key part of this, the absolute key part to why Naomi Osaka is the rising legend. She is going to take the tennis world by storm, and I hope actually Kei Nishikori helps her. For those of you from Japan, you had some great results in this US Open, but Naomi Osaka, here's what she did that was so brilliant. She saved the break points. She played the clutch tennis. I think it was something like 23 straight break points she saved in the quarterfinals, finals, semifinals, and finals. Well, Serena did put an end, to her credit, to the great Naomi Osaka's massive streak of basically of defending against break points. It was totally amazing what she did in these last matches on those key moments, delivering the absolutely best clutch tennis I've really ever seen from a women's player. I like her more than Serena Williams for a number of reasons. I'm getting excited about this, I know, but this is exciting. I love to see the new generations rise up. This is the Osaka generation, folks, the Osaka generation. And I believe that she could lead a new set of players into this game. Listen, Serena Williams has fallen off the wagon, folks. She has gone a little bit loopy. She's not quite playing with a full deck. And there was just too much of this self-righteousness from Serena. It's as if she kind of owned the tournament. Thank you so much for your support, and thank you so much for coming on. Listen, if folks are from Japan, I want to let you know, you might look back at a few of these episodes and say, well, he's talking a lot about men's tennis, but I promise you, this is my pledge to you. Naomi Osaka has inspired me to start covering a lot more women's tennis because she plays a wonderful game. Her style is fantastic. Yes, she needs a little work on some things. She needs a little work on the all-court play, getting up to the net a little quicker to protect herself from the drop shots. She does need to clean up her game a little bit, but the basic tools are there, folks. Those fantastic topspin forehands that she was hitting all week, those very devastating cross-court backhands, it all was just blowing our hair back. And for those of us who were watching Naomi Osaka, for those of us who were watching her basically find a way through this tournament, saving the break points, delivering the clutch tennis, taking a couple of the opponents to the bagel shop. We saw that she had a chance. We knew she won in Indian Wells. We knew the potential that Naomi Osaka brought to this tournament, and it was clear as day when you look back at those scores. And when you look back at that match against Madison Keys in particular, where she saved 13 break points on her own serve. It was fantastic. It was dramatic. It was entertaining. It was lovely. Thank you, Queen Osaka, for giving us such beautiful tennis. I invite everybody that's come on to subscribe to this channel. We love tennis at this channel, not particular players so much, but we love the upstarts. We love the up-and-comers. We want the young generation to start recording some good results. That's what we want. We want it on the men's side and we want it on the women's side. I've talked about how on the men's side, it's been difficult for the younger players to break through. The old guard has a lock on those top positions. Well, something else is stirring over on the women's side, and I just enjoy watching this process so much. Listen, Serena Williams was disgraceful today, folks. There's no question about it. It's not a close question. What she did was disgraceful to herself, and it was disgraceful to the United States of America. That's the truth. And if she doesn't apologize herself, she was asking for an apology from the umpire. She was asking for everybody in the world apparently owes her an apology. Well, she is the one who owes us an apology, who owes us as tennis fans, and who owes her fans. The whole stadium was full of Serena Williams fans, all rooting for Serena Williams. She needs to apologize to them. And if she does that, if she says, maybe she'll go on Twitter, but she needs to do it legitimately and honestly. And I want to see her own up to what she's done here. She needs to get religion, because you know what? This was disgraceful. It's the only word that comes to mind. It's disgraceful for the country because she is the great hope of the United States of America. It was disrespectful to Queen Osaka, and I think she is the queen. She's going to start winning Grand Slams, but it was disrespectful to her opponent. It was disrespectful to the officials. It was disrespectful to everyone in the audience. It was disrespectful to everyone watching at home because it was a waste of time, and it was a terrible model for up-and-coming tennis players. Listen, you take the hits as they come. This is a game. There are rules. There are officials who make the rules. If you have a legitimate contention and you want to discuss the matter with officials, you can, on the court, subject to time limitations, but you've got to do it civilly. Well, she broke out of civility. Civility went out the window with Serena Williams. It was all about her, and she sounded like Richard Nixon. I'm not a cheater. I'm not a cheater. I'm not a crook. I'm not a... When anybody mentions so many times that they're not a cheater, they're not a crook, it means you basically are. Or at least that's what it meant with Richard Nixon and my son and wife and daughter. But I've asked them to turn off the TV so we can have a clean stream at this point. But listen, the upshot is that Osaka is not only the superior player, is the worthy Grand Slam champion, of course, but is also the better person. She was the better person today. And so that is why she deserves this. She's a sweet and wonderful person with a great personality. And I just wish her the best. Again, I invite all of the Japanese people, the people around the world, I invite you to subscribe to the channel. We are going to be following the rise of the great promise, anyway. I'm not sure we can call her great yet, but the great and excellent promise of Naomi Osaka, and we are going to be covering that in as much detail as we can. But congratulations to Osaka. It's been truly a pleasure to watch you play, Naomi. And yes, we want to continue slaying the legends. And I think it's going to happen. I mean, watch the match, watch the highlights from some of the previous matches. She is a killer, and she's a killer in sheep's clothing. She's got this sweet little voice. She's such a sweet person, but oh dear. Well, the other night after the match with Madison Keys, the interviewer came on and asked whether I had anything to say to Serena Williams, who was going to be her opponent in the finals in that point. And she said, "I love you, Serena." Well, that got a laugh, and that was sort of funny. But when I first saw it, I was like, well, that's an interesting attitude to take. Well, she's got this double personality. She is sweet, so sweet. You listen to her voice, she sounds like just this little sweet little girl. But you know what? She's a killer on the court, folks. And there's none of that sweetness that comes out on the tennis court. None of it. She is all business, all commitment, and those groundies that she brings are simply phenomenal. They're consistent, phenomenal, precise, penetrating. Serena Williams, whether she was crying or not, or whether she was having a bad night or not, wouldn't have been able to deal with the phenomenal Naomi Osaka. She just wouldn't. This thing was kind of over before it started because it became very clear, right from the outset that Naomi Osaka was going to take this thing, was going to steal it right away from the great Serena Williams. Congratulations to Naomi Osaka once again. I want to invite you guys to subscribe to the channel and absolutely participate in the comments. We will be following the rise of Osaka. She is a very interesting figure. I love this double aspect to her personality. I think this is really interesting and original, and I think she is a breath of fresh air over on the women's side. So there you have it. I'm an American, but you know what? I didn't want Madison Keys to win. I didn't want Serena Williams to win. I wanted Naomi Osaka to win. The reason being is that she was simply the best player in this tournament on the women's side. And when I saw her save 13 break points against Madison Keys and go on to take that match to land her first final appearance, well, I knew something was a little bit awry. I knew something was going to happen today. Something inside me told me that there was an upset brewing here potentially, because Serena, folks, she's getting a little old and she's very emotional. This demonstration from her, I hate to keep going back into it, but for those of you who are coming on, this demonstration from her was absolutely objectionable. This is not good for the game to have these kind of demonstrations in the game. It's absolutely objectionable. And what can I say? It's disgraceful, and I hope she apologizes to all of us. I hope she apologizes to her fans, because here again, Naomi Osaka overcame adversity here. The whole stadium was rooting for Serena Williams. Now, I talked a little bit before about how I got the feeling that I think those that Federer skeptics get when they hear all of the Federer hype and they see these matches where everything's stacked in favor of Federer because the whole stadium wants him, all the announcers think he's the best, and it just keeps getting piled on, all the pro-Federer talk and pro-Federer expectations. Well, when I watched the Serena Williams match tonight, I sensed that, the same thing's happening with Serena Williams in a way. Everybody is backing Serena. Everybody's talking about her. That's the real focus. Of course, this is the US Open. We have American commentators, and they were really focusing on Serena Williams. And I got that little feeling in my stomach, like I'm getting a little sick to my stomach over all this, I don't know what it is, all of this excessive praise, all of this, just praise for Serena Williams when, you know what, I'm not sure it was legitimated here because she's just getting her legs back. But based on the way she came through this tournament, folks did have confidence in Serena Williams. But in terms of the kind of drooling, the salivating for Serena Williams that people have, including Chris Everett, including real legitimate people that are doing the commentating, it was making me a little nauseous. And I guess in particular because I do love Naomi Osaka. Well, for you Fed skeptics, now I know what you feel like. Now I think I've identified that feeling you get when there's too much support for Roger. The whole stadium's for him. Then, of course, lately he's been losing. So it's kind of the same thing that happened to Serena Williams in a way. But I do know that feeling. It is a little bit biased, and the cards were just stacked against Osaka. So that makes it all the more phenomenal, all the more breathtaking that Naomi Osaka has, in fact, taken this title and lifted this trophy. It's truly inspiring, folks. I invite you all to subscribe to Tennis Talk Daily. We talk about tennis here in depth from every perspective. We've got great discussions happening in the comment section. If you watch the videos, check out the live streams, check out the comments as well. You will learn a lot about tennis. And that's not just patting myself on the back. I know something about tennis, but our viewers are so smart and they bring the highest tennis IQs to this show, and they educate me. And so I'm a product of these very smart, insightful viewers, and they come from all over the world, folks. And for those of you in Japan, I don't think we have many subscribers in Japan. I think I would love to have all of you, and I would love to cover Naomi Osaka with a special sort of intensity and amount of detail so that we can, again, understand her rise, because she is rising. Well, I got a comment here, and I want to respond to a few. One person indicated, Aaron, you're not giving Serena enough credit for her accomplishments. That is a very good comment. Thank you. She has immense accomplishments, and she has an immense number of matches won without, and tournaments won, and titles won without having to resort to this emotional crybaby routine that she pulled out there on the court. This was uncharacteristic, but potentially as an older woman, the emotion, maybe the emotion starts to take control over a little more. Maybe this signals some kind of semi-permanent change in Serena, this self-righteousness, this emotional quality. I'm not sure. She's brought that a couple of times in previous matches, but this one was just very out of character. And to that extent, I agree with the comment. It is out of character. It's strange. She's been able to keep her cool often, usually, in fact, as I recall. I haven't been following Serena Williams with, excruciating detail, but I believe that this was uncharacteristic. It was not a usual occurrence for Serena. So why? Why did she pull this? Well, I think ultimately she felt under pressure. There was a lot of expectations on her, obviously, with the stadium. The stadium was supporting her, but that exerts pressure on Serena. So it was a lot of pressure for her to deal with, and I empathize with her in that respect. But more importantly, Naomi Osaka was a lot of pressure for Serena Williams to deal with. And that, I think, was starting to hurt Serena emotionally after that first set was taken from her based on two, not one break, two breaks. And it was so clear that Osaka was just dominating. So it was the pressure from Osaka that I think that sent Serena into that emotional state. But whatever was the cause, I don't mean to undermine her accomplishments. She has immense accomplishments. She's done so much for the women's game. And my hat goes off to her. I don't have my hat on right now, but my hat does go off to her. She's done great things for the game. Obviously, she holds so many records. Roger Federer has called her the GOAT. So apparently she's the GOAT. But listen, the way she acted today was not right. It was not right. It was out of character. And I will say that, again, she was demanding an apology. Outrageously, she was demanding an apology from the umpire on a professional tennis court. I mean, that to me evidences no respect for the rules, no respect for the procedure of how these matches are run.